How are you? Good afternoon. Hope you're two going great. The 21st of November, 23. I want to celebrate things today. I kind of just feel like celebrating today.
Right, I feel the same way. I don't know who it is. Maybe eventually I'll get remember, but this year, it's as though, this month, right? Nobody who's celebrated their birthday so far. That's 20th. I don't know how. I know some of each day who celebrate me here in person. And it's just as more people down in November.
I haven't been to Facebook in like donkey Facebook page, but Facebook is where you always get the reminder of it and everything.
Yeah.
And the minute you don't like, all right, but you know what? It is your day. I hope you're having a sick day. I hope you're having all of the joy and I love as you celebrate your birthday, your anniversary, it is your market today. And if it's just any other day, like a basic ordinary day, I'm extraordinary before the end of today.
I hope that you'll stay straight as well, because the sun in the FD.
People know the hammer that is building. I didn't notice because where I traveled the coast when I came, I just felt like, thank you, Jesus, for this heat. And never like, Hamatan is this Hamatan? No, sir, it's not.
It's usually the time of the year. Yeah. It's annoying you're all out there without the AC working properly, but just lotion up, all right? Really?
Sound advice, hydration, your body, turn up externally, because I promise you, in 2023, no one wants your skin.
We're stressed already.
Like, there is much going on in the country with inflation rate. You want to see your dry skin and dry lips and
for nothing.
No, it will affect the stock market.
No. Stop.
Yeah, I promise you. If you go out, you just know you're the problem of the country.
There's nothing wrong with something bad. Just cover up and find a way to be nice.
All right, then we're done picking on you, but you're so amazing. First thing with 95.1 Nigeria. Info work act on your passionate trustworthy conversation. It's intense, but it's light. Instead of looking at some of the big driving conversation, that's where the intensity comes from. It's all through the show because we look at contemporary issues, affairs, and all whatnot. But we tap on nicely with some bit of relaxation at the end of the show. Fantastic today. So stay with us from now to then. My name is Kimberly Machiko. Call me Kim, the digital oracle, OTF, the fellow, Mada, shine your one. I'll say yes and more.
And my name is Itodo, the guy. Great to always be here to have conversations and to hear your thoughts.
And so we'll get started on the roundtable. Some of the big stories driving conversation. I stumbled on this report where the president was Siemens and telling them to speak up. I recall, I think it was Twilight of administration where the late chief of staff, the late one died or
He was.
Yeah, and went to Germany, called deals and all whatnot, and people, waiting with bated breath to see what translate impact it makes, because the deal for setting infrastructural development, energy sector, and hopefully more sophisticated transformers on what bills have improvement in our power supply. So to see what you plan to invest, speed this up. We need to get there already. And they're saying that to the German Chancellor, and I think mind of the whole country at this point in time.
Yeah, about since he assumed the office, trying to get into Nigeria. Some say, well, how much have you made with that? It's commendable that to at least make to go out there and try to convince investors that Nigeria is ready for investment. He made a statement about Nigerian being good enough for investment, to believe in the people, and hope that with that he's able to impress or come over to Nigeria. So that's something to give to him. In the coming days, we need to see a bit of all the work he's doing. Coming months, more like a bit of progress to all the travels, all the meetings and summits that he's been all around the world.
All right, then. So that pans out. We just up yesterday. We did talk about Abia State, one of the looked at, not on the roundtable though, but talking about Abia and Lagos State and spending and ability and fiscal recklessness and all whatnot. The Abia State government has denied not spend 927 million meals the third quarter. That was only 223 million was spent. So it was a bit more breakdown. I know it goes like a lot to Nigerians, but this is less past 123 million, which is like billion on meals.
It would have been great if you saw that amount being spent on education or
but let's be realistic. Something will be spent on rechargeable, some will be spent on meals, because we're talking big offices here where people come like, oh, my personal meal, my immediate, there's a whole lot that is tied to it. However, where it is appreciated is how you try to, it's just like your home money, you cut down on excesses, don't have caviar. I don't know the average Nigeria who does. You want to cut down turkey and do it simple stuff. To show that indeed is
real.
Yeah.
And you're making the effort just the average Nigerian is doing. But those funds, I'm not sure what they're eating. Whatever it is they're eating, you can't spend that much on food. They see they're those funds into other as the economy. But then again, it's important that this the Nigerian to how procurement was. Every state in the country, we are pinching and calling out those who are honest enough and spending and the progress. I hope that the state governments are watching and attention. Right now, it's not just about the federal government. They also to play and what different. What step you take your state is making progress. That's what they're looking out for the period.
I would just update you. It's done. Let's go to the president. I didn't mention in passing that he was going to have a interview. Apparently, he addressed the issue of the Naira bill. Let's get a bit detailed to that.
Well, the former president, Mama, says approving the Naira redesign policy was ensure its integrity become questionable. Now, the immediate past president interview, his first since handing over to the current president today. Buhari's backing, the central bank announced its plan to circulate a new series of 3 back on the existing 8 in October 2002. The redesigned 200, 500 and 1 were due for circulation on 2022, while the pre-existing no-late tender until January 31st, 2023. Now, the move triggered nationwide chaos as has became fast before and during the general election. Speaking on design policy interview, he said the motive to check those who had stashed getting money. He also spoke of technology made him win 2015 presidential after previous failed attempts, and he also showed he achieved all he had set out to achieve as leader from 2015 to 20, adding, however, that he does not miss being out of office. That's it.
Yeah.
Well, to just say ones are an interesting people who govern to lead. That's what he is.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Everything like fresh. Like we've had for a while, and this is it. But then even while his speeches were usually
Straight to the point.
yeah, we did that. So I mean, but there's something he did say why he gave the approval ahead, because everybody's asking for MFLS, but this is the man who gave the approval for happening, and nobody's calling him out.
What difference did he make his call?
He gave his reason that he said, illegally acquired. The reason that they gave us a ban. Apparently, he's still standing his gun on this. Instead, the former CBN is going to say, I give you approval. And if you recall, even before he left office, he came out, this is it. It was this all at the end of the day for that to go ahead. And he's standing his ground. He had a good reason for that. Perhaps the execution was poor. It was unfortunate, but he still believed the call.
It was so immediate and rushed. With them into it, I feel like Nigerians have, given up to ease into the resign narratives. But urgency is what made
timeline suffocated people at that time and the economy. It would have been a case people argued. You have analysts who are formal to take example in different countries where currency was redesigned and over, and they allow you to just go with one until they eventually mop out the old one. Well, that one was faced with so much politics, some sort of ulterior undertone to it, enough that people are through. It got a lot of suffering at the end of the day.
Yeah.
At this point, then perhaps maybe I apologize for the pain went through. That would have been fresh. That was different. Like, this is something that I hope for. Born out of good intention because of the amount of money insecure through the financial system, because of the corruption hoarding. However, I see the afflicted on the country, and in retrospect, it wasn't properly executed. I apologize, we applaud you, and then you can go back into your home where you're resting. It would have, because right now it's just saying this thing a lot of people have said, and Nigerian mass of people are saying it was a wrong call.
Yeah, he also spoke about theory, during the time of his presidency. We remember at the time of a cabal hijacking his president, in the early days of his administration. His wife at the time was one who alleged happening. And he spoke about it. That he doesn't know which party his wife belongs to the kitchen. He made a statement and contributed on when he did. Now, he also said his president might have been a hijacked, however, that he was not sure anyone who broke the laws out to walk away. Quote. So he just stood on that and
might have been attacking. The government, I mean, we just had so much talk about the cabal. But I remember, thought it was such a powerful man, but it was still talk about it. As a matter of fact, they thought the lead carrier was ringleader. He left and things maintained, the same momentum. Yeah, exactly. Realized he's a little disappointing at one man at the point of time. About talk, about real people, like the government, about inefficient government at the end of the day. Because sometimes it can be setting narrative that is put there to just deflect from the real issue. Elected, you wanted to come into office, and God should have been able to. And I understand truly that any office with power, there are a lot of forces that are contending. All right, but it's supposed to be able to control to a set. Because we can't keep making excuses of this man, this powerful puppeteer who can presidency every single time. It was strong at the time. Even late year Dua, it was so talk about strong influences and cabal, particularly when it was, and then we had it during Jonathan's time and Buhari. And if we're not careful, we'll hear in the present administration.
Well, there's been no word of that. But then again, the canal always balls. Sometimes, about the one on the street, it balls into the handland. And those who take decision or who shall make their signals about half the time. And people always frown at such a government because they feel like they would hijack the power or the government and wants to be in charge. Whereas there's just a figurehead. But we've seen it or heard about it in this administration. And we think a difference, if any.
Well, we'll keep us crossed. So we want to get your take on the story, and starting off with our former press who was trying to explain standings on the Naira redesign, talking about the cabal theory also. Do you think we're going to worry about cabal under this administration also? Let's talk about cabal. Do we truly have strong men who drive things in their direct, or is it about inefficiency at the part of the present at this time? Over time, that is. Thought with us. We'll open up phone lines. We don't have a guest in the studio. If you're interested in this story, if not, you wait out when we reel out more. Phone lines are open 0700 951 000 or 0809 574 869 or 0899 3013 is the WhatsApp number. You can send a message on that and also call the number. We're streaming live Twitter and Facebook. Yes, we are. YouTube.
You love X a lot.
At Nigeria Info on Facebook and on YouTube. All right, then. So get to us and we'll tell your take. Let's hear for this caller.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
You're welcome.
Night, yo.
Welcome. What's your name?
Yeah. Welcome, my sister.
Welcome.
I'm the lucky guy today. I got. So, sister Kim. See,
I'm listening.
There's nothing like Abba. There's one thing I've tried to pack my brain around. Nigerian government leaders, they like excuse. They like to blame for what they cannot do. What that they will do, and they get there and they do it, they like to give an excuse for it. What is wrong? Like give money for you to refinery, and I go there, get the refinery, I release me. On behalf for you to build me refinery, and I go there to be in it, and as you are giving me update on that, I give you money to do a go there to be investigating, not to minister. The minister have his own work. The head, and I go there to be following up based on me. It's wrong, but somebody will sit down somewhere and say, "Oh, Kabal take over." The spokesperson will be telling us different thing. We'll be everywhere. Sister Kim, there's nothing like Kabal. See, I don't grow. I don't know why all these people that go say, "Now one person there, one person there." Person no one work. You know these girls to work, and if why is continuing like that because if you're delivering, you must finish his 10. No matter how the day, person must finish his 10 years and leave. Whether it's delivering or not, so that's the reason why we see him. Assuming that he's not delivering, he's not doing what he was, giving him some kind of heat in his bum or he impeach the person. Everybody will sit up. Nobody can make. That's all about my sister. Thank you very much.
Sir, Ola Engineer Ola there does not believe the cabal. The former president said they just proposed cabal in his administration.
But they didn't go without mention if there was anyone at all. So he didn't quite confirm.
That's double speak. If you're saying there probably was, but didn't go on punish. Probability means that you're not sure. How can you tell me they didn't go on punish if it's on probabilities?
Well, he said what he said.
Is there is or is there and? Exactly. All right, let's call that.
Welcome. I hear you.
All right, then. If you can get through, our WhatsApp number is there. We'll take all the platforms.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Welcome. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
My name is Omochian.
Welcome. Go ahead.
This issue of I like when the last caller was talking. I don't understand the Kabal says. About the move. You have all those people. Nobody, if you want to work, you work. What minister, if you want to work, you work. All of them, they are. I don't think there is anybody that is bad for the government now.
You think about the former president, though?
Yeah. Anyway, I don't want that one day for the former president. Because Tinubu is the one that has in power in government. The president does not have like Tinubu of that to Tinubu. There is Kabal in the what that one is. It's not you know the condition of that and you just go there and work. Just go there and work. If you cannot work, don't tell another I cannot just work. Don't anybody excuse. Nigeria now we are not I can say it, I don't want to die for this country. I want to live and so if they cannot work, please give it to another person that is very important. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks. And how often do we get people admit? We've seen from sick president to sick governor sitting tight and having people around there trying to cover the degree of illness. We've had a president die at that time where people were still querying where is the situation to governors being out of of funds and controlling things wherever it is they were. People hardly ever did not have either strength or the capacity to do it. Even if they're doing it a bit wishy-washy, they just...
Now we have the case of the governor Itodo called to resign because he says he's unable to function on the state. And
we saw how he fought it when he came back because of all kinds of allegations.
But honest as the average Nigerian to say, I can't and I have to step down or resign to allow who is worthy enough or who is capable of delivering that to that office. We don't see that often. And if it ever happens, it's always a shock. Mostly because they're resigning to go run for another office, and that's the thing. But it's great to when you know that you're unable to deliver to overwhelm. If I can't give you 100, just talk that, but then they would tag you as being unfit and make fun of you. That's why people are not open to going in that direction.
All right, Roundtable. First story we looked at, which is the former president talking about the Naira, why give the approval, and that there must cabal must have hijacked his government, and we're looking at the cabal about real people hijacking or his competence at this point in time. Wow. So far we've had Engineer Ola, Masanika Fachanchia the take. Let's get to hear more before we get to the next story.
Hello, good afternoon. Yes, so like it's board of this, I'm from Central right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I agree slightly with the first caller in what they said about non extent of Kabal. Even though differently, I think the Kabal in every organization, some people who are behind the mouthpiece of people that call the show, who are businesses in corporate world, and it doesn't. Of course, some people have direct access, both aspects. So the president, these are the people who before you can even have access to the president. So don't that the impression that look, they have absolute control over things. Why some going to disagree with it is what they said want. What to do. Hello, am I with you guys?
Listening.
Look, if you see some sort of people give the impression that look, they are able to access and Mr. President himself wants those things. Where he wants things done as how you are doing it.
Well, let's hear this call and then
Good afternoon.
Yeah, this is
Welcome.
good afternoon.
Okay.
Yeah, this is President. Concerning our former President Buhari, honestly, I'm really disappointed. This is the man with the idea. He responds with promises and campaign. Most especially, first office is a fraud. We teach him. But yeah, this man with the NMPC know the in and out. To tell people being a former age of 3 months. But when he gets to the office, the guy was from now so disappointed and he's doing the war. He's doing a real policy. And I increased the from the 7 to 1 and told them that the differential we need to generally. He left, I know who the human right now. Tell them that it's about what. If the president is due to his minister to go do whatever they want to do, the guy came that project, he left office. Look at what happened with the minister. We take the money with the minister, start go to our team. That every day, it's not bad. Even the last end of the argument to level 30. What kind of life? Now, when the minister goes to whatever the life and taking money, in fact, it's what is your government? Minimum pay because Buhari could not. All money just going up. Yes, you said the yes, they could do something. And at the end of the day, you think that's on side. No Buhari for you. There's one minute because that's not around. You don't get to use your preservation or take a part to and look at the next of we are both disappointed in Buhari.
Very much. All right, let's look at some comments. Sorry.
All right, say I want to exist where leadership is weak. Though I'm not fan of the decisions, I doubt a cabal will pop up in the administration. The president is calling the shots. That's what talk about things about this. And Mrs. Darkuba says, what do you mean by cabal? Who's the head? If there is a cabal in the villa, that means that's about it. Who is deceiving who? Is that Mrs. Jeremy is asked. And I'm one of those Nigerians that hates the spending habits of politicians, but Nigerian media should be careful to distinguish doing well. I'm 100% certain that the spending has been associated with the Abia state government on being the only Labour party to tear with corruption. I'm a person of the great revival of Otis carrying out. I strongly doubt that he will allow such figures within the few months he has been in power. Makes you authenticate the source of mission is what Mr. Rogan is saying. And to know what kind of oracle you are, so I can upgrade the leaders. Okay, and that's what Ray is in. All right, Ray. On the currency, pain is a big challenge to many leaders if you can't feel people's pain. That's what Samson Nasi is saying. The Biodun says, I'm also hoping to press forward and bring investors in Nigeria. You think, but something must be done to invest in Nigeria because investors are investing the money in a country where there is no security. Right, and Mao says Buhari should have just apologized and because seriously that would not approve a project that's on the redesign of the Naira and without mechanism for effective supervision. Has Buhari ever visibly shown empathy Nigeria passing through and as going, I can't remember any? Please prove me wrong if and when president should clear empathy. Okay. Right. Omari says when you have a weak leader, a clique as cabals will emerge to dictate things for the red. That's how he ends his message. And Katium says the president should stop explaining his government. All right, I think that's a good place to move on to the next story.
All right, just Facebook, Mazu John, the CC, Buhari in Abuja say, yes, agree with last week. The office then has been from one. Okay. Or they complain about one car hijacking instead of them accepting that the development and lack of capacity to carry out their duty. It's not Buhari alone, but even current action is trending the same path. I pray for Nigeria under Tinubu's administration. Paul, okay, that from Mazu John and Paul, seeing you. I see you. Thank you very much for your kind. And on YouTube, Otaku. We say hi to you also. Badmos Sumbo, we say hi, sir. Thank you very much for joining us via our YouTube page. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo, jumping off the conversation we had yesterday about how democracy is faring on land, said we need to tweak it. Democracy has failed Africa. Say what the future and, writing on that, given what the candidate of the saying about snatch, grab, and run are a threat to democracy. It just feels like a lot of talk about what's really happening to our democracy. We need to redefine, recalibrate one to improving it. I know that the president is discounting what a man is saying, and he's trying to heat up the polity. However, he's saying if it's a snatch, grab, and run is a threat to our democracy, that the jury is now cash and carry. To be detailed, that's Itodo. Are we a pained man who lost an election, or is there some sense what he's talking about?
All right, the Abubakar PD has raised alarm over attempts by the apes to derail Nigeria's democracy use subterfuge. He went to to state, quoting, including judges, was forced to join his party. The few opposition members who managed to get elected were beating, including that of the Lagos State House of Assembly, where the member back in 2008 suspended and arrested for gun carrying, but mysterious charges dropped immediately he dared to the APC. And he spoke through his media advisor, Mazi Paul. In a statement, he explained that the ideal democracy does not just reside in representative, but is essentially rooted in the plurality of ideas. Thus, for a system to be seen as democratic, it must really accommodate opposition and opposing views. Now, Atiku said, sadly and suddenly, we have seen a trend where of opposition engagement continues by the ruling party in Nigeria, and say that either through the electoral process where judges or parties rigged out for impunity, or during the post-election quiz where the judiciary is conspicuously doing of the ruling APC, it has become apparent that the democracy in Nigeria is a state of ill health. And of course, to speak about what's happening in Nasha, Zamfara, and Plateau states, and so stated that in election cases where the APC came second, the court ordered that they declared the winner, while in elections where the PDP first and Labour Party came second, the courts ordered in order to give the APC a chance of victory. The former vice president said that it remains the watchword if Nigeria's emerged survived APC onslaught on other institutions that are supposed to check the excesses of the ruling party. End quote.
All right, and the presidency has since responded, yes?
Yes, they have. They stopped the also speaking on the one-party dictatorship remark by the former vice president. Last week, he called on opposition parties to turn against the ruling party, saying the APC is turning on to a dictatorship, in quote, of one party. A few days later, the PP called for a review of what it did as biased verdicts delivered by election panel set up entertain petitions from the state head by Umar Damagum, and chairman of the PDP, urged Nigerians to rise and the integrity of our judicial system from a looming crisis in our beloved. However, the allegations by Atiku and the PDP condemned by members of the ruling party state on Monday by Onaga has just cried the claims as, in quote, while libels and born out of PDP just ran their will on President Tinubu and the judiciary. He went that President Tinubu is a Democratic core. We make it as a president. He has not interfered judgment of the judiciary. End quote. He mentioned a couple things in the statement that he made, stating that the PDP and the Atiku were just crying following the appeal court's ruling of governorship hold to Zamfara and Nasarawa. So that's pretty much their response to that.
All right. Snatch cash and carry. Very catchy.
Setting statement, you know, from opinion and put a pressure on those who are supporting that particular party. Make them do things they were not directed to do, and that way it just is the chances of people.
But I think the matter of time, we quite agreed that our democracy isn't where it should be. Yes, we've had, since got into the Fourth Republic, interrupted in the sense that we've had transition government to the other, in spite of the challenges and the flaws in the election. We just manage. But you wonder how sustainable is not affect the process of having credible elections that people can trust. You question the outcome and wonder, why for this candidate they will not be able to tear that officials responsible for conducting the election, and that we might not even have the need to have a judicial determine. 3-man panel will now call at the end of the day over what hundreds of people hustle to get their PVCs. Do you just take to get your PVCs? I mean, I remember how it register, collect a permanent voter's card. They did that. Came out on election day. They stayed till midnight for the vote to be counted. And what you'd need, just a handful of to tell you, this happened, that didn't happen, this person stays, this person goes at the end of the. So it tells you that we're still wobbling when it comes to tuning our process. We're not stuff. There are some African countries are honestly hijacked by the military's indicative of problematic it is for them. But you could actually fall. Humpty Dumpty did not know how bad he did if you do not correct certain things. Nigerian, it's the press is for us at this point. People cannot trust process. I know people who call and say, for the election in the past, people did not say about people talking about it. By people, I mean Nigerians who are about the process. And that's the reason why you had groups, civil society organization, Nigerians amend the Electoral Act. Amend this section. Let's see how can we prove it. It's from all need to get a perfect process that puts this improvement. It's just a shame, though, that some electorates, politicians, and certain institutions have continued to make it look like capable of doing this right.
The notion that the reason why people say elections is because it goes the way they don't want to, they hope not, and that's what they're crying for. But I feel half the one shares in the blame. The statements made by the politicians, the electoral body, and everyone who is involved, the critical stakeholders in all of this. And it's important that everyone's intentional in ensuring statements that are made. I mean, if politicians who are campaigning for an office are able to engage their voters and supporters to go and ensure there is no violence, who you believe in, make some statements. Because when you say grab, snatch, XYZ, sets a tone how things should play out. And that's why we see violence, because they be given an excuse to with that statement that you made to be intentional. If Nigeria wants to be good, it will be born to our leaders and precedents they're setting once they get all running for certain positions.
Well, in my who several times to run for the office of president, you don't also run for this office. Buying the form to enter campaign, you naturally feel breath and ego. But there is substance to what is it doing to our democracy? And is he excused from it in any way? Article from all the collectors that we're dealing with at this point in time, because it's not going to be looking like, oh, this is on this administration where specific decay in institutions below coming and building over time. When Nigerians have called out one admin after another, the former party, you need to respect institutions, you need to let them work. And then we're seeing who come on board, and it feels like they have perfected the process making this institution work. So at the end of the it's a finger pointing all over, and citizens will be able to decide how soon we need to cleanse the process.
Also, the impression we're giving when some of these people run for office, it's a selfish reason, not for the good of the people. It's the need to be identified position or having held that position, because you won't make any difference or change anything. Because the impression, based on your research, it's best if you support somebody else, run for the office, and just be the backbone for that person to see better as opposed to you being the figurehead. I feel like it would give the impression that indeed you want to differ from that, not because you have whatever reasons for no gain.
Well, trust Nigerians about that, and you trust anything. Promise you. Let's get back to your take. We looked at the story. As the true candidate of the PDP, this is how he feels as to what the APCs who our democracy seem to see. They're on the muscle. There's not grab and run and perceive the judiciary to be, can carry, using his words. So the words of a pain man, or is there something we actually need to address? And people say, well, nothing new really. We improve on ourselves through process and by extension, what? And I was reading an article in Times and looking at why is sanction not differing in some of the things happening in terms of how they're distorting democratic practices in the country. And it tells you that sometimes this is so weekend sanction would not go anywhere. So how do we fix it? Let's get unfolded as we continue our conversation here on the Roundtable.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Kimberly.
Welcome.
Kaba is the Commander-in-Chief of Armed Forces, great enabling environment for it. High Aviation Minister was the member of Kaba of Buhari Ados.
Why do you say that he promised us Air Nigeria and didn't?
He goes to the House Senate chamber, beating table, and they cannot even scrutinize him adequately. To be forming that time, they will be going to beg him, a Minister of Federal Republic of Nigeria, under questioning before the Senate. To be beaten, he do him with audacity. Whoever question him, what about the man Anthony General? Who is improving him and aviation minister? What about the isolated his own cases? But there are a lot of people. They create and come to the issue of election. Conducting election is not a sustainable democratic country. So a lot of countries conducting election will be able to deepen democratic balance. Okay, thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Go ahead, Bulus.
I thank God I got beautiful today. What the PDP candidate said about judiciary annulling when PDP is APC sec or thought. It's a case that happened in Plateau Tribunal. The PDP are not telling you what is really happening. The tribunal, the three tribunal, two were affirming PDP victory. As the PDP really conducted repeated cases at the court order. Only one tribunal was the one that was saying. Then when they came to appeal, the Plateau North senatorial seat, the appeal court, they should.
Sorry about that. But I know the was calling us to give us feedback about the election, and the call dropped. Maybe we hold back and finish your thoughts today.
Welcome.
You're welcome. Welcome, Tony.
The difference between leader and follower is that leader is challenges for this. I sympathize with former governor. You can learn from the former president who went in solo. See that unless they ought to have supported Obi. The three of them going their separate way. There's a separate way, separate way, and that's why they lost. Energy is the highest of it. In politics, you work. You have to make one from it. He had not been informed. Why would they have taken and lost? As I admire people so much, it's the idea, it's experience, it's post for years. That's why implementation now with him. So unfortunately, others should learn a team work together.
All right. So you everything I think is the rant of a man who lost an election. All right then. All right, Tony, thank you very much. Let's hear this thought.
My name is Comrade Salisu.
Go ahead, Comrade.
Talk about I know APC is not because what is happening now. They are planning ahead. About the coming election when they take over again. So they need to how to make sure they get it down. Because we see what we are saying about what's going on. When he left state, as governor, after I left, nobody can practice when no appointed as governor in the state. So the same thing happening. That's what is going on. Some from Lagos are coming from your country. And when you do it, that's what will happen.
What does
China is working.
What do you mean by Banyu? In simple English.
New action word.
All right, and Bangi, we see you. You guys, greetings. One thing would never happen in Nigeria, at least not with the dichotomy. No system of government in this country with corruption. Oludede Abiodun himself is also undercut. I think he's only lamenting because he failed to, clinch the seat of number one citizen.
And Prospering keeps saying, well, the former vice president is on point on this. Democracy is about the people, not called law. And you people in the media, it's going to be difficult in Nigerians to go to the polls in 2027 with what happened in the general elections and the elections is what Prospering is. All right.
Okay, Joy is standing by. Let's just take us one quick for Joy to come with the new net.
Welcome.
We know that like about if you take as government,
Worry.
he fight put a net to see and to out of that place. 6 months ago, to come to tell us that he was against Buhari. Understand? But he found why government against Atiku. But you just talk about. Thank you very much.
All right. Very much. We'll take a break here quickly for the news. Joy is already standing by. We'll take more thought from you. So news. Stay with us.